And joining us today on our Book Talk segment, great to welcome a woman who's written a book that is going to be helpful, I'm sure, to not only women, but I'm sure men as well. We'll find out about it. It's called On Your Case, a comprehensive, compassionate legal guide for every stage of a woman's life. We're joined by Lisa Green. You've seen her on NBC News and MSNBC as a legal analyst, and she joined us by telephone today. And Lisa, good to talk with you. How are you?
Doug, I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to have a chance to chat with you for a couple of minutes. Had a chance to read through the book, and I'm guessing it's not just for women. I think men can get something out of it too, but it's geared toward women, right?
Oh, it's geared toward women, but I appreciate you bringing that up because the truth of the matter is law is generally gender neutral. I wrote the book aimed at women because women fancy themselves the family organizers, and they're so ultra careful about so many aspects of life, whether it's exercise, feeding the family right, saving for retirement, taking care of parents. And law is just this black hole that seems to be avoided because women and men think it's scary, incomprehensible, and expensive. It does not have to be that way.
Yeah, you break it down into, if you're going through, obviously, tough things like divorce and other things, but not necessarily that as well. If you're going to be married, there's marital law and there's all kinds of things. I always thought things like this should be taught in high school, but it isn't.
Yeah, that and a lot of life lessons. And it's taken a long time for people to wrap their minds around financial planning. 20 years ago, if you said to people, there's going to be a series of books about, your retirement savings that you're all going to buy, they'd look at you like you had 16 heads. We didn't wear seatbelts a generation ago.
Right.
So everyone is learning, and I'm just trying to do my part to remind people that there's one more area. It's the ultimate empowerment. When you put the law on your side, and as you correctly said, it doesn't have to be a divorce or a disaster. It can be something as simple as sitting down with your roommate, your new romantic interest, if you're moving in together, having a short conversation about money, maybe writing it down, goes a long way to solving problems down the road, particularly because couples fight about money a lot.
I was going to say money is probably the biggest issue in any relationship, right?
Oh, I totally agree. And look, if we can guarantee that it'll come up, it would be nice for one member of the couple to go to the other and say, let's have this conversation. I read about it in a book. It might be really helpful to us. So I'm happy to be the person who brings that news to the forefront for women and men to use.
As a lawyer, I'm sure, and you talk about it in the book, you've seen handle a lot of cases where you deal with what you write about, right? Divorces and harassment and other kind of issues.
Yeah, not only have I advised many friends whose questions led me to want to write the book, but myself, I'm a wife, an ex-wife. I've had 2 now adult kids and parents who've gotten on in years, so I've lived through all of these experiences. I haven't always dealt with them in the ideal way. The book is meant to be a corrective. Don't do what I did. Let me explain to you through some research and hard knocks a better way to go.
What do you find from your experience talking with women? I'm assuming you're kind of gearing this toward women in their early 20s, I would think, for the most part. But
I appreciate that because I think for younger women, there's no better time than then to just get started thinking about their rights. Women who are just starting out, are all told night and day about how to empower themselves. Stand up straight, lean in, assert your right to a raise at work, be, an equal partner with your partner in your romantic life. And the law is just one more tool to add to that toolkit that young women in particular can start to get in the habit of being assertive, knowing their rights. It'll make their lives a lot easier. They'll get more out of it.
Do you find women of that age, college-age women, or maybe a little older, are interested in law? I guess they sort of have to be now, right? And as they move into the workplace and different type of jobs, right?
Look, they're moving into the workplace from college campuses that used to be pretty quiet and now can be hotbeds of debate about legal behavior, sexual harassment. I think women today, young women, are really enlightened about the opportunities for power in their world. And I'll tell you a story I heard the other day. A couple in their 20s, they're getting married. They put their prenup on Instagram because they thought it should be transparent. And I thought, this is a wonderful modern way to approach the law. Let your friends know that you're using it to your own good advantage, and they may follow suit.
Do you recommend prenups in most every relationship, or does it depend?
It really does depend, and I think you're hitting on it correctly. The latest statistics I've found show that only 3% of couples have them, and I think that isn't necessarily too low. If a young couple is starting out together, they come from similar financial backgrounds, they don't have kids, they might do fine without a prenup. Where I think it can be really helpful is if 2 families where the affianced are coming from have very different financial profiles, the family with more money may want some protections in place. And I think even more importantly, for older people, second marriages or remarriages, if there are children from a first marriage, I think a prenup is a really nice way to calm everyone down. You know, there's that thing where the new spouse and the existing kids eye each other warily, like, why are you here, and do I have to share with you? And that's pretty much a force of nature, no matter how nice everyone is. The prenup is your way of saying, hey, everyone, calm down. I've got a plan. You won't have to fight each other. You're just going to, I hope, listen to my good advice, and everyone will be taken care of.
Yeah, as we get older, life tends to get more complicated, so probably not a bad idea.
No, it does, in good and bad ways.
What would you say the biggest mistake young couples make, and maybe more women, toward women, what they make if they're going through a divorce?
I would say for women going through a divorce, a mistake they might be inclined to make is not to make sure they know what they're entitled to under the law. Mm-hmm. It is such, it's this weird mixture of a contract dispute and an emotional dispute. So you're angry, you're scared, you might feel guilty if you want the divorce. You might feel awful if you're being asked for a divorce. But you need to, ideally with the help of a skilled lawyer, understand what assets you ought to be splitting up so that you can build for your future properly. I mentioned in the book, a lot of people think that their private retirement savings through their 401ks at work are their private property. If you earned that money and saved it while you were married, you have to split it with your soon-to-be ex-spouse. It's really helpful, especially when your mind is clouded by emotion, to have a lawyer at your side who can lay it all out for you so you know what you're leaving behind and what you're taking, and at least you don't, in retrospect, think, I could have used some more advice before I made that decision.
Yeah, good tips on that. And it's not just the negative things. You also talk about other things, like raising kids. There's certain things that are helpful there, on the job as well. I mean, dating in the office, you have a whole section on that. So there's a lot of things.
Look, there are times where very wonderful things happen in your life, and what the law can do is just provide some foundation to avoid controversy and problems down the road. I think of it as having insurance. You would never not get health insurance because you thought if you had insurance it would make you sick, right? Mm-hmm. People get it anyway just in case. And using the law that way as a foundation, almost a warm security blanket, so that you know as you go forward in life, if something takes a zig instead of a zag, you've made accommodations for it.
Well, a lot of great advice in the book also about caring for aging parents. Obviously, that's becoming a much more prevalent issue now as people living longer. But great advice in the book, Lisa. It's called On Your Case. And I know it just came out, doing very well. Do you want to give out a website, Lisa, and get a hold of the book or get a hold of you?
Yes, with pleasure. It's lisagreenlaw.com. You can buy the book on my website, and I'll also keep you up to date on the latest developments in the law.
And Judge Judy says it should be on every woman's bookshelf. So that's a nice compliment from Judge Judy.
I am thrilled to have her endorsement. I think she's fantastic.
Great. Lisa, pleasure to talk with you. Enjoy your work, and hopefully we can do it again. Thanks for joining us.
Likewise, thanks for having me.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com. This has been a presentation of Doug Miles Media, all rights reserved. You can listen to or download previous programs at iTunes, Stitcher.com, or DougMilesMedia.